In the heart of mid-Missouri, there's a church that traveled farther than most people ever will. Its stones were laid in 17th century London, survived wartime, and they were carefully taken apart and shipped across an entire ocean. And as Andrew McCrea shows us in American Countryside this weekend, that church was rebuilt piece by piece in Fulton, Missouri, as this historic church stands as a lasting tribute to a single speech and a statesman whose words echoed around the world.
A church sits on a hill in Fulton, Missouri, a tribute to a man and a prophetic speech. Inside and underneath this church is the story of the important event that took place here. When Allied forces won victory in Europe in 1945, the United Kingdom held a national election just 2 months later, an election which Prime Minister Winston Churchill lost. As Timothy Riley explains, Churchill's popularity, though, around the world was still quite high, especially in the United States.
Right after that defeat, he received an invitation from Westminster College inviting Churchill to come to speak here at Westminster College in the heartland of America in Fulton, Missouri.
Perhaps the small college's invitation would have been lost if not for someone else who penned a note to Churchill.
That invitation was co-signed by President Truman, who wrote a very famous P.S. on the bottom of the letter that said, "This is a wonderful school in my home state. If you come, I'll introduce you."
Churchill accepted the offer and came to Fulton, Missouri on March 5, 1946. The town swelled by several thousand people as a packed crowd heard him speak in the campus gym, the largest building at the time.
An iron curtain has descended across the continent.
They didn't know what Churchill was going to say, and he made a very audacious claim. He said that an iron curtain has descended across the continent of Europe. The Soviet Union, who had been allies in World War II, helped win the war. Suddenly Churchill is saying they could be our adversaries.
The former prime minister's comments that the Soviet Union and communism would rise to become the next great challenge for the West was not well received by some. Even President Truman seemed caught off guard by the comments, but Churchill seemed confident the speech would stand the test of time.
Churchill knew immediately that he nailed it. I mean, he just knew that he mustered his entire rhetorical capability to make this speech. And on the train ride home, he turned to an aide and said, "I think that was the most significant speech that I've ever given."
In the 1960s, to honor the prime minister and the words he shared here, Westminster College had a novel idea.
Why don't we bring over from London a ruined, bombed-out church from World War II that was nearly all but destroyed in World War II, and reconstruct it in the heartland of America at Westminster College to honor Churchill's speech.
A church destroyed during the German Blitz, gutted but still standing, was selected for the memorial. Today, the beautiful old stone church stands on campus in honor of the speech delivered here and remembers the man who helped lead the Allied forces during World War II.
7,000 stones were carefully dismantled in London, numbered, put back together here in Fulton. The Times of London called it the greatest jigsaw puzzle in the history of architecture.
Although decades have passed, the church and the museum below it still tell the story of a famous world leader and his speech that was delivered here, a speech whose words are still very relevant today. Traveling the countryside in Fulton, Missouri, I'm Andrew McCrea.
When we come back, Machinery Pete joins us for a look at this week's classic iron, but then we're off to Mississippi to see the dramatic aftermath of last weekend's winter storm.